Good evening, friends. We start tonight with a campaign promise by President-elect Donald Trump and a provocative step forward in an effort to fulfill it. Trump announced this afternoon the creation of a new White House position with exclusive focus on trade and jobs. The National Trade Council will be headed up by economist and Professor Peter Navarro. Navarro was a Trump advisor in the campaign and is known for his tough stance on China. The transition team said in a statement today the National Trade Council's goal is to shrink our trade deficit, expand our growth, and help stop the exodus of jobs from our shores. Navarro, a Democrat and Harvard-trained economist, authored the book Death by China: How America Lost Its Manufacturing Base. It was later a documentary. Navarro and the council will oversee trade pacts and U.S. trade deals around the world. Joining me to discuss the impact of this is Lori Wallach, Director of Public Citizens Global Trade Watch. Lori, good to have you with us tonight. What is your read on this? This may be seen by the manufacturing sector as some kind of special focus that hasn't been there before. How do you see it?
Well, I think it's a good development that right in the White House there'll be a special office just on trade and on industrial policy. What remains to be seen is either what that office and Peter Navarro intend to do, and then also what's going to be possible to do given a lot of the people that President-elect Trump has appointed were big supporters of the TPP.
It's going to be interesting. I spoke with Leo Gerard, who's the president of the Steelworkers International Union this afternoon. He told me that this is a good, positive sign and that he has worked with Navarro on issues in the past. The big question now moving forward is just how much authority is he going to have? Is he going to be a voice to the president, or is he going to be somebody that's going to be able to drive some kind of trade policy?
I think there are a lot of open questions. I mean, certainly it's a better sign that they're structuring the trade work in a way that gives priority and in the White House and has someone who's been a critic and a skeptic, and that's a good sign. But I think it's a really hard thing to know, both given so many of the other members of Trump's cabinet were big advocates for TPP, but also the structure of trying to negotiate these things and then deal with a lot of the folks in Congress who haven't been very tough on China, who haven't stood up for American manufacturing and jobs. It's clear a little bit that there seems to be some interest in trying to go in the right direction with this appointment, but what it will translate in and whether it's actually the appointment is the news or what that office can achieve will actually be something substantial, I think it remains to be seen.
There's no question about that. And of course, Donald Trump says that he read his book and he felt like the professor spoke with clarity and can explain exactly what we're facing. And it's interesting that his focus has been on China. He's done a lot of work and research on China and talks in his book quite extensively about what the United States faces in future generations. This is kind of the education that I think a lot of people in Congress need, or am I wrong on that?
I think that this election was a real wake-up call to many members of Congress about how very angry a lot of Americans are about 30 years of a trade policy that has destroyed people's livelihoods and communities, eviscerated whole parts of the country. And these were not acts of God. These were bad policies that we have alternatives to. So going forward, I think the real question is going to be, the American public has spoken, and then are we going to actually see real change, real deliverables, a real change for the manufacturing sector, but also for people's jobs and wages. And China's a big part of that, but also we're going to have to do some things with our other trade agreements. I mean, just for instance, even if we crack down on China's cheating, we're going to need some policies that lift up workers' standards, or otherwise we're still going to have enormous pressure to offshore to chase those low wages.
Lori Wallach, always nice to have you with us tonight. Thanks so much.